So my experience with MLMs. So during this time, I was in my early 20s, and my early 20s was a rough time for me. I had just got suspended from college for academic probation. I was working different jobs at the time. I would be working these jobs through the temp agencies at these warehouses, and I would work there for months. Show up every day, do my job, and then I would just always get randomly laid off, or they would just never hire me on. So during this time, it was a rough time for me. I was sleeping on the couch. So during this time, it was just like I was trying to find a way to make some extra money. Things was just not working out for me. So I ended up getting a message from someone I knew at high school. And basically, it was just basic like small talk or whatever. And then basically, because this wasn't the first time they had inboxed me. They had inboxed me sometime before, right? And it was basically, asking what I was doing career-wise and stuff like that. And then they kind of brought up, I'm trying to figure out a way to make some passive income, so on and so on. And at that time, I was trying to figure out how to make passive income. So it resonated with me. I'm like, oh, okay. So I asked them, like, well, I want to hear more about this. Because at that time, I was real into, like, affiliate marketing and stuff, trying to figure out how to make passive income, how to make quick money. So he was like, all right, that's cool, we'll have a meeting and so on and so on. So I met up with him. He kind of explained to me the process. He was like, well, I have this passive income opportunity to where you can make, once you get to like a certain number, you'll be able to make like $50,000 every year and so on. And then he was like, it's another level as well, to where if you don't want to stop at that, you can make like I forgot how much they said, but you can continue to make, a lot more passive income. I forgot how much they said it was. But I was like, oh yeah, I was all in, I was all ears. And then he was like, okay, well, that sounds good. So what he had me do, I read the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, by Robert Kiyosaki. I read it, he asked me about the book and stuff. And then after I read the book, he was like, all right, well, I'm gonna introduce you to my mentor. And then so, I talked to his mentor and everything in the business. And at first I was all in, I was most definitely interested. But with these, with MLMs, the thing is, right, and I'm not saying nobody has never made money from it. I'm not saying people don't make money from it. But I just don't care for the business model. Right? If I have a business, right, it's either going to be me doing a service for somebody and I'm getting paid, or I'm just going to have a product. I don't want no business that's going to have to depend on other people or you bringing other people in. I just don't care for that business model. So when you first get in, I ended up going to like a little conference, a little meeting. And now this is all the way in Louisville, Kentucky. So this is like 4 hours away from me. So, I gotta have the gas money to get there. And then on top of that, I gotta pay just to go there. And then I gotta drive back home. So when you already struggling, that right there is a lot of money. And I tried to get like other people to join in and stuff, and most people they really wasn't interested like that, to be honest. They was like, or they'll say they're interested, talk for a while. And the thing is, another thing that I don't like about it is you can't never tell anyone, you can't never really come out and just tell people what the business is. I don't like that. To me, that's in certain cases that's kind of like disingenuous. You're not just coming out saying, hey, we're going to be doing Amway or so and so. Like, I feel like you should just come out and tell people directly. But they have a process in the way they do things to kind of just lure people in, get people already invested. That way, once they all the way in, they be like, dang, I done spent all my money on this. Ooh, I done did all this for, I might as well stay in. That's pretty much what they did. I didn't make no money from that. Now, as far as the products, they did have some decent products, but the thing about the products is you can't make no profit off the products because the products are just expensive. Like, they high for no reason. And the thing is, a lot of the products, like, some of the products is most definitely useful. But some of the stuff is just like, they don't have, like, certain stuff that's catered to, like, black people, like the shampoo and stuff like that. And certain, like, hair products that they be having, you know. It's just like certain stuff that they have, it just didn't cater to us like that, and it was just extremely expensive. So you can't make money off the products. They don't really want you to like resell the products or nothing like that, unless they buying them like off the website. And you know, I invested a nice amount of time and money into this. You know, I would go to these conferences. The first conference I went to was like all the way in North Carolina. That's hours away from me, you know. Going to Louisville all the time, that just got expensive. Having to go there once a month. And to be honest, the business, it just didn't help me. It put me in a deeper hole. It just put me more in debt. All I got from it was, I ended up blowing out one of my tires, going to like one of the meetings in the conference. I ended up blowing out my tire. I ended up maxing out my credit card in a worse position than what I was at first. I'm like, thinking in my head, like, instead of doing all this, I could have just been working instead of doing it. And the thing is, you know, these MLMs is like somewhat cult-like, because it's just like, if you're not doing that, then you're not being successful. It's people that's, you know, reject spending time with family and stuff like that just to go to these conferences. You know, they'll miss family time or big family events, and they'll miss a lot of stuff. Because I mean, the way it works is like people in the MLM, it's a new family. They're your new family, because your family may not be going in the same direction you're going in. That's what they usually say. They be like, well, if your family is not going in the same direction you're going in, then, you're going to have to leave your family behind. It's kind of like that mentality. And then it's just like a lot of, like, extra little expenses that you had to pay. You had to pay for the podcast. They had, like, a little podcast series, an app that you had to pay for every month. You had to pay for every one of the meetings. You had to pay $10 to go there. And I had to drive all the way to Louisville until it was like, oh, well, you can just go to one closer to your house. I'm like, dang, I wish I could have did that at first. Or I could have just caught it online or something. And then you go into these conferences. All they do with the conferences is just basically hyping you up to stay into the business. And you gotta pay for those. That costs money. So you putting all this into a business, in which, a lot of businesses, you putting in money to, and you might not make no money from, but at least you have a product that you can sell. You buy some merchandise or whatever, and you want to sell that product and someone buys it from you, at least you can make money like that. At least you ain't got to depend on having a downline just to make a little bit of money. Or if you got a service, at least you can, whether it's a mechanic or a barber or whatever, at least if you do that service, whatever equipment you invest in, you're going to get your money back eventually. With that, you got to, with MLM, you got to depend on bringing people in, and I just do not like that. Now, it do help as far as, like, building your sales skills, building your social skills. It do help with stuff like that, help you better articulate, get better at having a conversation. They did talk some valuable things there, but it's just like, nah, it got to the point to where I just stopped answering. I'm just like, you know what, I can't do this no more, man. This is just continuously putting me in a bigger hole. I'm just like, I can't do this no more. So, I went through all that stuff in my early 20s to where I know better now, to where I know what's gonna work for me, and just trying to, like, get some quick cash and stuff like that. That ain't gonna work out. It might work out for a while, but it's not gonna be nothing long term. I've been through that whole phase. I was really just looking at how to come up and get some quick cash, make some passive income. I was real into that into my early 20s. And I'm glad that I didn't have, like, enough money to invest in a lot of the stuff that they was offering at that time, because seeing how people, a lot of people get scammed and stuff. And I'm not saying like all MLMs is a scam, and I'm not even saying the one that I was in is a scam. I'm just saying that it's not my type of business. I wouldn't want to do that type of business. Just me personally. I either want to sell a product or a service and stick to that. And there's not really no get rich quick anything. Even with so-called passive income, you still gotta work. People making passive income on YouTube, they gotta work for that. They still gotta put out videos, so it's not really passive. People who got real estate or whatever, they may be landlords, own properties. They probably get rent every month, but that's still a job in itself, right? Say if the homes get damages, you're gonna have to fix it. So it's not really no such thing as passive income, in my opinion. You still gonna have to work some way, somehow. And I was real big into that in my early 20s. And I'm glad, I learned all that early on to know, nah, that's not what I want to do. And the thing is, a lot of these things, they kind of prey on you when you're struggling. That's when they prey on you the most. They know you're struggling. They know you're going through it, and you trying to look for a way out. And that's how they get you for real. But if you're struggling, your main focus should be to stack as much bread as you can. Get you a job, a job, and I worked a job at the time. Well, I was in and out of work. I did DoorDash and worked a job. And then at one point, I just did DoorDash for a time. But it's not no get rich quick scheme. A lot of things take years to build. Whether it's a business, a successful business, or whether you get into a trade and you want to start making some good money. All this stuff takes years to build. And you just got to put in the work, you got to put in the time, you got to stay disciplined, you got to stay consistent. It's not no shortcuts out here for real. Especially in this economy, ain't no shortcuts. You gotta put in the work. Like I said, when you're struggling, at that time, that was a little bit pre-COVID time, but then COVID hit, so that was about like 2018, 2019. 2018, 2019, you had a lot of grifters coming online, getting money from the people, with this generational wealth message, or, you can start making all this money through affiliate marketing. They were selling their courses and stuff. And I'm not saying all courses are scams, but they would charge an unreasonable price for these courses just to give mediocre information when people are already struggling. So yeah, they prey on people that's struggling. So keep that in mind. So ain't no shortcuts. Grind it out. Stay focused. Stay consistent. Stay disciplined. I'm speaking to myself as well. So ain't no shortcuts. Hope y'all have a good day. Peace.